Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander EDC. Today we're looking at a new torch from one of my favourite flashlight companies, and that is Nitecore. Now some of you will have or may possibly remember this from whilst I was at IWA a few weeks back. This is the EDC07. Now I'm just going to refer to it as the EDC7 from now on, just because my brain's... Watch the bloopers and you'll see how many goes I had to redo this. Anyway, so you'll hopefully may have noticed, as far as Nitecore are concerned, that they have their EDC range have lots of different functions and different things like your lasers, things like white lights, and things like UV light, lots of different kind of functions to them. The EDC7 really does strip back a lot of that to make it a more simple light. And you may have noticed from a lot of my content over the past, when it comes to simplicity, I'm a big fan of simplicity, and I think that's what this does incredibly well. So let's have less of me waffling, let's turn the camera around and let's take a closer look at the EDC7. Now, as we usually do, we'll do a quick unboxing, or at least let's have a look around the box to start off with. So on here you've got your EDC7, you've got your MCT, which is your multicolour temperatures, and now this has the same LED setup in here so that you can go through different temperatures. The different temperatures will give you different CRI kind of outputs, which we will have a look when we have a look at this in the dark, and we'll go through the different lumen levels as well. But you can have a colour temperature, which is a warm colour temperature, which is 3000K. You can have a natural kind of temperature, which is 4500K, or you can have a really white, crisp kind of temperature, which is your 6000K. As far as your output on here, does up to 1500 lumens, IPX67. So as far as the water rating on this is concerned, or the dust and water, it's been tested for both, and this is one of the highest ones that Nitecore have made in this form factor. So 6 being its dust rating, which is the highest that you can get for general consumer electronics, and 7 being close to the highest that you can get with 8 is the actual highest. But it does mean that you can submerge this. You need to take it out quickly. You can drop it from up to 2 meters. You know, it's impact resistant. Now inside the box, quickly I'll show you on the inside here, fairly standard for Nitecore. So you get a lanyard, you get a USB Type-C charging cable, you get some warranty information, and you also get your instructions, which I'm just using for my notes today. But yeah, put that away, put that there. So right now, this keeps going out of focus, mainly because I like the colour of this, but it keeps thinking that it's part of the ground beneath it. So I do apologise if at any point this goes out of focus. But okay, so as we usually do, we'll have a look at some measurements, and we'll go through some of the materials, and we'll actually go through the functions of this. So as far as the size of this is concerned, hopefully you can see it has that kind of very popular candy bar rectangular form factor that a lot of lights are being made with nowadays. So the total length of this comes in at 120 centimeters. The width on this, which is the widest part here, is 31. Did I say centimeters before? Is 120 millimeters. 120 centimeters would be huge, definitely not pocketable. This is the new Nitecore Javelin, and it is a javelin. Anyway, sorry, 120 millimeters. The width of this comes in at 31 millimeters, and then the depth here comes in at 17 millimeters. Now this is the 17 millimeters here. If you take into account the extra little bit that you get with the clip, it comes in at 21 millimeters. Now the body construction of this is different to some other Nitecore lights. Generally they're made from like a 6061 T6 aluminium, or some of them recently have been made from a stainless steel or a metal construction. This isn't. This is made from a polycarbonate, which is different. I will give it that. It's different. Some people will turn up their nose to this straight away, but the fact that this is still IPX67 IP6X, so it's still good and tough, and you know, it does get hot on the brightest setting. However, Nitecore use an internal modular whatever module within this, so if it has a kickdown, the kickdown doesn't go on a specific length of time, so it'll stay on 1500 lumens for 30 seconds and then it'll kick down. It will kick down when this starts to get hot, and it does a very good job with this. It's only 1500 lumens, so it can get warm, and I'd be lying if I said that it didn't get warm, but it doesn't get overly hot. So the polycarbonate body on here does a very good job. Now what it also means is, instead of using something like an aluminium or a metal, it means that it does help to reduce the weight of this, and it comes in at 70 grams. Now, to stress on with this, that's 70 grams with the battery, as the battery isn't removable. So if you're a type of person that you're like, no, I need a battery that I can hot swap, this might just not be the light for you. However, Nitecore have plenty of other lights that will definitely suit your needs. If you're just somebody that needs a very simple, nice, light light that is just for everyday use, that you can charge when you need to charge it, then this should be perfect for you. But that 70 grams is with the battery, because you can't hot swap the battery on this. On the reverse here, hopefully you'll be able to see that there's a small port here where you can charge this. Now I've charged this with the USB cable that does come with this, and I've charged it with 6 other USB cables, and they all work perfectly. That's not because this is some sort of proprietary charging port, it's just USB-C like everything else, but often where this lip is around this port, they can be quite narrow. So I've tried it with several others to make sure that depending on the width of that lip that you push into it, and it fits, so it fits perfectly. Whatever it is you want to charge this with, you can charge it with. There is an LED display here, which hopefully you saw that when it turned on. It turns green, so that you know you've got 100%, 75%, 50%, 25%. So you need to know, you know when it needs to be charged. And yeah, that's it kind of as far as the body is concerned. So on the end here, it's all done, the vast majority of it is all done through this switch here on the end. The UI is very simple. It will kind of tail stand, so hopefully you'll see there's a small raised section here, here and here, which is just to protect that, just in case it's dropped from turning it on or off. But it does mean with a little bit of balancing that it will tail stand. There isn't a magnet in here, so you know, it is what it is. It won't magnetize to something, but yeah, in a pinch, if you did need to tail sand it and it was on a perfectly flat surface, then you could do that. Here at the opposite end, hopefully you'll be able to see that there are two LEDs in there. Now the LEDs that are used with this are very similar to the UHI LEDs that are used in a lot of other Nitecore products, and these are also the MCT variants of those, because you can change the temperature, or you can change the different temperature modes that you have with this. You'll see that in front of those there is a faceted TIR lens, so when this is pumping out, let's put it onto a higher setting. And again, we will have a look at this in the dark. There's not what you'd call a super defined warm spot, but again, I think for EDC, for everyday use, and the way that this is kind of designed to be used, it doesn't really need to have that super defined warm spot. It's just there, you turn it on, you see what you need to do. That faceted TIR lens shines it out, and yeah, it's great for just kind of regular everyday use. Now I've touched on the UI on here a couple of times, but mainly the button here on the end. Let's put this onto a higher setting. This is your on, this is your off. Simple, super simple, couldn't be any more simpler than that. If you wanted to do a tactical kind of momentary on, then you can half depress this, which will give it that momentary on. As soon as you release it, it will turn off, and then you can go about doing whatever it is that you are doing. But as far as the UI is concerned, super simple for this. You turn it on, you turn it off. I think for most of us will have a single lumen level that we will all use, and I say this a lot, I say this so many times, but turning it on, turning it off, yeah, it's just what you need. When it is on though, if you want to then be able to change the lumen levels, that's what your mode button here at the front does. So hopefully you'll see. So let's put this down on its low mode. So this is low, then you've got medium, then you've got high, and then you've got turbo. If I press it again, you'll see that it goes back down to its low mode. And that's it. You know, you set it, you turn it off, you turn it back on again, and it will come back. I think that was on medium there, but it will come back on to whatever mode it was that was on when you used it last. There is an ultra low eco mode on this, and it's similar to some other of their EDC lights. To do that, it is kind of a two button. You can, it's a little bit, I mean, you can do it with one hand. So what you need to do is, so you need to keep your finger down on the mode button, and then you need to turn it on with the click on the end. And this is the ultra low mode. It is a bit tricky to do, and it is easier to be able to do it with two hands. But then if you then want to go from ultra low, which is on now, you've then got low, medium, high, and then you've got your turbo as well. Now let's put this on to high, because as I mentioned, you've got those different color temperatures with this. If I turn this back on again, a single press of the mode button will rotate you through the different lumen levels. I believe at the moment we're on the crisp white colour, but if I do a long press, now we're on, in fact let's make sure we go all the way around. Yes, I was on crisp white. So now we're on the crisp white colour. If I do a long press, now we're on the natural colour, which does have a higher CRI, and if I press it again, we're now on the really nice kind of warm colour, which the CRI is even higher. For me, because I was messing around with this before I started filming, I actually find that the normal kind of the normal warm light is not warm light, but the natural light is a perfect one for this. Now, as I mentioned, so let's get down to the fishing pond, because what you'll find is that so you've got the different CRI and you've got the different kind of levels with this. Is there are different ever so slightly outputs as far as the lumens are concerned. So let's fast forward, get down to the fishing pond and see how this works in the dark. Actually, let's hold that thought, because I forgot to mention that there is also a strobe and there's also an SOS function on here. The way that I have it set at the moment, I prefer that it goes through to the ultra low. But with the strobe and the SOS function, all you need to do is hold. So similar to putting it on ultra low, if I hold this down and then turn it on, it'll now come on to ultra low. But if I hold this down, turn it on and keep that held down, in a second you'll see that it changes so that it's now on its SOS mode. So what you can do is, in fact, let's do this again. So if I hold this down, we're now on ultra low, now on SOS, strobe, sorry, and now on SOS. And if it goes back again to ultra low, strobe, or SOS. So if you want to change between each of the different settings, you can do that through that. There isn't like a dedicated instant access to strobe or SOS, but once you've got it on there, because I prefer ultra low, I keep it on this function. But if you wanted it so that you could get it so that it always went to strobe, if you change it to strobe, then that's what that would be on. But for me, I've kept it on ultra low. So that was a bit that I forgot. Now let's fast forward and let's get down to the lake and pond and see how this works in the dark. Okay, so we're down at the fishing pond and we'll go through each of the different settings. Now there are quite a few to remember, considering there are 5 different lumen levels, and then each one of those levels has then got a different warmth to it. So I thought what we do first is quickly have a look let's quickly have a look at the ultra low mode. Now on all 3, so at the moment I'm on the kind of the cool white, there is the warm, or at least sorry, there's the natural, and there is the warm light. Sorry, I've got a bit of a frog in my throat. So all of these are 1 lumen on the ultra low mode. Now I can press that again, and this will then put this onto the low mode. So again, we're on the cool white mode here. This is 15 lumens. Long press will turn it onto the natural light mode. This is 13 lumens, and then another long press will turn this onto the warm mode. This is 11 lumens, and this is on low. So let's get back to the cool light. Press this again. We're now on medium. So now looking off into the distance, you can actually see quite a bit further down the path. Here's the tree that I tend to look at a lot. But on medium, so on the cool white, this is 80 lumens. On the natural light, this is 65 lumens. And on the warm light, this is 55 lumens. So let's go back to this tree, go back again. So now we're on the cool light, which was what, 80. Now we're on the warm light, which was 85. Now we're on, sorry, the natural light. Now we're on the warm light, which is 55, 60. So it was 80, 65, and 55. Now let's get back to the cool white. There's a lot to remember with this. Well, actually, I've got notes, but it's, yeah. Anyway, right. So now we're on high, which is 300 lumens. Let's come back to this tree because we're running off here. So high is 300 lumens on the cool light. On the natural light, this is 260 lumens. On the warm light, this is 220 lumens. Now let's bring it back to here, put it onto the cool light. Now as I mentioned, you see before, so there is the end. You've got that kind of afterglowy part. It's not really afterglow, you can just see that the light is coming through the polycarbonate. Now 45 degrees to the left, 45 degrees to the right. You've got those 2 faceted TIR lenses in there, which is helping this light to just kind of throw out in different directions, which just doesn't necessarily give it a warm spot. But for EDC, it's perfectly fine. No issues with it whatsoever. But yeah, definitely not what you consider a super defined warm spot. Now, let's just make sure I had done it. Yeah, okay. Right, now, now we'll go on to the turbo. On the cool light, this is 1500 lumens. On the natural light, this is 1300 lumens. And on the warm light, this is 1000 lumens. Now, for me personally, my favorite setting on this, so that's turbo. So we're on low, medium, high, turbo. So for me, I actually found that on medium like this, on the warm mode, which is 65 lumens, this has just been perfect for me. You know, walking around, taking the dogs for a walk, especially when I'm walking in the woods at night. It's a lot darker than it is here now, so walking around in the woods at night, I'm just walking over to the little waterfall here if you can hear that. But walking around at night, especially in the pitch black when I'm out in the woods, 65 lumens on the natural light setting is actually really nice, and I think just for everyday use, it's really nice. The CRI of the natural light is really quite nice. Again, we'll just go through these again. Let's put this onto the warm light. So we're on low, medium, high, and then turbo there. This is quite a nice warm light. Let's go back down to the cool light, low, medium, high, and there you've got turbo. Now, as I say, for me, really do quite like the warm light and find medium or high, but personally medium's fine for me. Yeah, get quite a lot out of this light setting. So yeah, so there you go. Now when you come to the strobe and the SOS modes, they use whatever the respective setting that you've got is. So if you're on the natural, if you're on the crisp white, it's 1500 lumens, 1300 for natural, and 1000 lumens for the turbo mode, whichever one that you're on. So looks exactly as it did, but just, you know, flashing. Yeah, so there you go. So there you have it. I think this is possibly one of the most simple lights when it comes to Nitecore's EDC range. There are some other ones, the MTC, I forget the actual models of them, where it's just a simple click on, click off kind of thing. But this has just enough features to have that kind of extra bits where you can change the colours on here. But scaling some of those other extra bits that for some people they're just not going to use. Some people don't want the laser on there, some people don't want the UV light on there, some people don't need the red light on there. All they're after is a simple light that you can turn on, turn off. Once it's on, if you want to be able to change through some of the different luminosity levels, that's fine. But and I've said this a lot in the past, I've probably said it several times today, there are so many of us that have a light and we just use one lumen level. You turn it off, you do whatever it is you need to do, you come back to it later and you turn it back on again, and you know, you'll stay on that one. You might flicker between 1 or 2 different lumen levels, but generally we just stay at the right one. And I think this is a good example of that kind of light. As far as the durability is concerned, with the polycarbonate outer, only time will tell with this, but I'm reasonably sure I know from the testing that Nitecore do, that this will, you know, it's just going to be a solid little pocketable EDC light that will be working for years to come. And I do genuinely really do like this light. I think what might be a good idea for Nitecore is, if people are concerned about the polycarbonate outer on this, if they did a second, so this is the EDC07, there is an EDC9, which is the one that has the folding head, that has an all metal body. If they did an EDC8, which was exactly the same as this but had a metal body instead, for the people who were concerned about the rugged nature of this, that might be a good kind of intermediate kind of ground between those. But for me, I like this. I like the fact that it's not too heavy, it just slips into the pocket. Yeah, I'm kind of glowing a little bit about this one, but I think again, taking a step back, what do you need in life? You just need a light that turns on, that turns off, that's reliable. You're not one of these people that's throwing stuff around all of the time, so having the polycarbonate body on this is just perfect for you. And also, not forgetting, which I haven't touched on, is that the construction of this is also reflected in the recommended retail value price of these as well, which I believe is one of the least expensive and best value for money Nitecore lights out there. So there you go. Now, full disclosure, I did leave a little note at the beginning of this. This was sent to me by Nitecore. I have a great relationship with them. And all, well, as I say, most of my piece of content, generally what they asked for is a good, honest piece of content, which I believe that I've given you today. We've gone through the pros, well, not really the pros, we've gone through the details with this. And there's some suggestions on things that I might slightly change about this, but other than that, I think it's a great little light, and I think this will be very popular with Nitecore fans. So yeah, so I'll leave some of those links below so that you can see more from the EDC7 and more of Nitecore's products. I'll leave some of my social media links below as well, so you can see more from me here on Moorlander EDC and my sister channel, Moorlander Tactical, where I look at more kind of tactical stuff. And whether you're watching this on YouTube or Rumble, as always, stay safe, stay Moorlander, and stay EDC. Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander EDC. Today we're looking at a new flashlight from I was going to say Nitecore, but then in my head I went, is it Nitecore? I thought it was EDC, but it's not EDC, it's the EDC07 from Nitecore. Has anybody else reached that age where your brain starts malfunctioning? Mine started malfunctioning around about the age of 16, 17, and it's just shit. Right, should we start that bit again? Nitecore have quite. Remember that bit about my brain malfunctioning? I think this is another one. I think I've done reasonably good as far as bloopers is concerned. So if you, I mean, obviously I'll find out when I'm editing it how many things that I got wrong, but I think I've done all right. Oh no, hold on, I kept forgetting the name of this, didn't I? Roll the extra bloopers of me being an idiot. Well, I hope you're all good. Hope you're all having a good week. Not sure again what day this is coming out. I think this feels a little bit again like a piece of midweek content. But I hope you've all had a good week. I hope you're all well and safe wherever you are in the world. And yeah, I'll see you all soon. Sweet. I'm gonna go now. Love you lots. Bye.